Board meeting, and now we're going to the membership committee meeting. For those of you who haven't joined us before, what happens is we have a formal meeting in April and November. April and November. May. I knew it was one of those months. May and November, where it's an actual membership meeting, but this is more to have a presentation on some topic. We've had, VNA presentation, antenna presentations. Today, we're going to have Jim introduce something I'm sure you're going to be interested to all of you. But before we proceed, I'd like to ask John. We recently lost a member, and she was a very dedicated amateur radio operator to the amateur radio. And John, could you?
It's not a good picture we ended up with.
I thought you provided that.
No. I provided a different one. Okay. Barbara's memorial service is this coming Thursday. The viewing is 9 to 10. The service is 10 to, 10 to 12. And then at 12 o'clock, her ashes will be put into the vault with Richard up at the VA cemetery. I think so, yeah. The service is going to be up at Dodo's. And Roy, please, you're the taxi driver. You know how to give good instructions from town into Dodo's. Because I'm going to go, you go up Wainako side, up towards Kaiviki Road, and you stop by Dodo's, which is right by the park. That's all I can tell.
That's how I would have said it. It's pretty accurate. Okay, so to get to Dodo Mortuary, basically, why not? Okay, so there's two streets going out of town. There's the Arch Bridge, which is Pueo, not that one. You go one street up, that's Wainaku. That's the straight bridge right by the old electrical power plant thing over there by the river. You go past that, you're gonna pass the Clem Aquila Park, and it's directly after that on the hill. If you go around that sharp S-turn bend with the bridge, turn around, you went too far, go back towards Wainaku.
Okay, everybody that I'm talking to in the club so far, we've kind of agreed on probably showing up there at about 9:30 in the morning, and that gives everybody a chance to talk a little bit. So definitely end of an era, because Barbara was handling patches, up until she couldn't do it anymore, and William ended up in Yap for a little while. So I don't know if there will ever be any replacement for that. I talked to William ahead of time before I left Yap, and he wasn't happy camper either. So, but I think it would be nice, for everybody that maybe knew of her at all, to maybe attend the memorial service, because she had certainly put a lot into this club, both as an officer in various officer positions, as well as doing all of the work out to Micronesia and getting, with Richard getting one of the International Humanitarian Awards. So, everybody that might be able to make it over there, I think it would be kind of a nice gesture.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll pass it around.
Oh.
Okay, and to honor her, may I ask all of you for 20 seconds of silence? Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, at every meeting, we go around the room, introduce ourselves, because we want to know who we are. So let's start with William.
Hi, everyone. I'm William, NH6ET. I'm an amateur extra, currently on the BIARC board as the trustee for the club's call sign, KH6EJ. I think you guys all know that I'm into pretty much everything radio. And it doesn't matter what it is.
I'm Jim, W86FQI, Vice President of the BIARC at the moment, and I'm an amateur extra, and I'm into all things radio.
I'm Thomas, WH6GWL, technician. Yeah, just here for it all. Looking forward to how far we get, and let's work some more stuff out.
And I want to thank Thomas for volunteering for a committee. He's the newest member of the repeater committee.
Yay.
So thank you.
I'm Joe, amateur extra. I'm the secretary of the club. I'm into all things radio and over to Roy.
All right, W86 Joel, right on. I'm Roy, amateur radio class clown, K86KU, into everything comedic and amateur radio related.
Stand up so they can see your face.
You would ask me to do that. I'm Bob, AH6J, former section manager, president, vice president, secretary, newsletter editor, and I'm presently the assistant section manager. And I just got trustee for the call K86AA for the QRP club. And I could go on for an hour, but I'm not.
Mutang Mai Sui at V63 Juliet Bravo, soon to be flapping my wings back onto the plane back home to Gitam in the app and taking care of my recently inherited 10 kW AM broadcast station.
Hello, my name is Richard Diamond, KI6 AMI. Just moved here from California, actually from Waiwa and just been here for a few months. Looking to join the club.
I'm Kyle, WH6FQQ.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is George Manuel. Newest member to Civil Defense, and I'm interested in amateur radio. I'm glad to be here, invited by Tony. Yeah.
Gary, WH6 EPS from up in the Mountain View area. I guess been with the club for almost 10 years now. So the anniversary is coming up fast. So I got to renew the license soon. Anyway, enjoy digital modes, HF, and jumping on the local repeater. So a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you.
Hank?
I'm Hank, KH6HAK, amateur extra, space cadet.
I'm Tony, WH6DVI, easy to remember DVI, digital video interface. So I'm your friendly BIARC treasurer. I'm with Aries. I'm the assistant section emergency coordinator, also with VOAD, chair of the communications working group here on this island, and on the local CERT teams.
Hi, I'm Mel, KH6EKD, and I'm grandfathered as an advanced, and I enjoy digital modes and EMCOMM.
Okay, so and I'm Alan Okinaka. I KH6 ATU general, and I'm your club president. I finished a half a year without getting into trouble, so I'm looking forward to another half year without any trouble. I gotta apologize a little bit for the table setup. We set up the table this way differently because we're having a hard time, especially for Joe, hearing each other. So we brought everybody together for the board meeting. And so you're sitting in the back this way. So excuse the arrangement. The other thing is that to honor Barbara, after the presentation today, we're going to serve her favorite ice cream. Okay, mango cream from Rosalani on Maui. She always, we found so many occasions to enjoy ice cream at ponds, right? You know, we grabbed anything and a bird flies away, hey, let's eat ice cream, that kind of thing.
That was because Richard believed in eat dessert first, make it ice cream.
Yeah. And I think some of us had about 3 birthdays in 1 year. So, but it was fun. She was a person that, the story I tell a lot of people is that when I first became a technician, a licensee, I had a hard time with my call sign, WH6FZH, FCD. And I mentioned that to Richard and Barbara one day. Barbara said, 5 zebras dancing. And, you know, I couldn't get it out of my mind after that. And I always remember that from her, 5 zebras dancing. I still have it. In fact, if you look at QRZ, it comes out, if you put FZD, it comes out with my name. So we're going to be serving ice cream right after the presentation. Jim will provide for you today. So stick around, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy Barbara's ice cream. Okay, Jim?
We've got a number of people online. If you want to say that as
Oh,
well.
I'm sorry.
Let's start with Gary, KH6GM.
Hi, this is Gary, K6GM. I'm Hamakua Coast, Ninole area, not far from Mel EKD up there, working EMCOMM stuff, and Aries, whatever I am, CEC for our area. So anyway, good to see everybody. And the microphone is excellent. That's really, really helpful. I like that. Thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you. Welcome.
All right, next up will be Jeremy, KH7CN.
Hi, my name is Jeremy, KH7CN. I'm a general class license there. That's it.
Okay, and Paul, WH7BR.
Hi, this is Paul WR up in a cool volcano, currently 70 degrees. I'm an amateur extra, and welcome to George, and I see Jimmy online as well. So aloha to all. Back to net control, WH7BR.
All right, well, next up will be Jimmy, WH6GEM.
Well, good evening and aloha, everyone. WH6GM. I am an amateur general. I am sitting in what's going to be my new ham shack here atop of our, I can't call it a mountain. William said, you call that a mountain? But I'm on top of a mountain in Arkansas. I said, we all can't be the big guy in the locker room with a telescope on top of it. But already being introduced, I've just lost my wife. God rest sweet Christine Love's soul. She's not in pain anymore. So it's beautiful that my baby girl ain't hurting anymore. But I'm going to carry on the finest traditions of BIARC. Got to somehow come up with a HF radio and a wire here once I start getting towers put up and that. And I look forward to either contacting you guys by HF or maybe we've got an all-star node here somewhere. But I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that all of you are my family, and those you newcomers, man, you really have a family right there. You're going to be amazed. These people have impacted my life, and I love you. Bye-bye, you guys. 73.
Yeah, we miss you, Jimmy. We miss Christine, but that ain't no mountain. That's a speed bump. All right, next up will be Lee, WH6LC.
Where is she?
She's not up top.
Oh, there she is.
Hi, I was trying to unmute. Hi, Jimmy, I'm sorry about Christine, but I love you. I'm so glad to see you. Welcome to everybody else. I'm Lee in Mountain View, amateur extra, and I'm the Amgram editor. Love you guys. Bye.
Okay, so that's it online.
That's it. Jimmy, my condolences. Thank you for joining us today. And Lee, we had discussion today about how great the ham grant is. It's very, very popular. So your work is much appreciated. Mahalo.
Hey, does she know about the archive? That it's getting archived internationally?
Oh, we need to talk to you about well, I'm going to tell you now. The person that talked to us about the digital library, we're going to allow all our material to go into their archives, along with additional papers that we might want them to be holding for us.
But for the members, what happened is that a member of a committee that's archiving records in the amateur radio community as part of the Internet Archive reached out and said that they found our newsletter and they love it and they want to include it in the archive so it never gets lost.
Yeah. I'm trying to quickly find that email, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to. So anyway, it's like just an archival system where they collect all the digital information all over the world, and it's going to be kept there. I just finished working with someone for the data communications. I belonged to the Aloha Net project at one time, 50 years ago. And there's a computer museum that gathered all the information that we put together. We just finished that a couple of months ago, and that's all going into that museum for future viewing. Now,
Is this a local archive or national archive?
it's a national one.
It's international.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's-
internationally,
it's the
right.
International Internet Archive at archives.org, which is also known as the Wayback Machine.
Yeah. Very significant. Okay, thank you. Jim.
I think Lee wanted to say something. Did you
Oh,
want to say something,
Lee.
I think that's cool. I thought it was cool when you guys you presented it online and said you were going to talk about it, and I've liked it from the first time I heard about it. So go for it.
Okay, I'll send you the email so you get a better understanding of what it looks like.
Yeah, it'd be good for me to put a little story in the newsletter about it too, let people know.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Jim.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Actually, he's got one that'll clip on because he's gonna need his hands if you want to hand that to him.
Thanks. Okay, so today I want to talk about GPS as it relates to ham radio, disaster recovery, disaster preparedness, and we'll go from there. So the first thing I found this great poster that put out by the government that tells you how GPS works, and it lists four steps. The first step is the satellite transmits a signal with its location, its status, and precise time from a onboard atomic clock. And then after that, it travels through, from the satellite down to the Earth, where it's picked up by a receiver. And that they show a tractor here. So, but it could be a car, it could be your laptop, your phone, any device that is GPS enabled. And from that, it calculates the amount of time it took from that signal to get from the satellite down to you, and it can determine determine the distance. And it does that from a number of different satellites in order to locate you on the Earth and your elevation. It needs at least 4 satellites. And that's how it kind of determines your location. Kind of I guess 3 satellites. It was just 3 would be triangulation. I don't know what you call it with 4.
Quadrilateration.
Quadrilateration. That's a mouthful. So, and this GPS has become really big for so many different things. Like my watch even has GPS, so it's nice. I left my phones at work. I could ask my watch where my phones was, and vice versa. If I take my watch off, I can find out where they are. So after that, so how we use this in ham radio. It can, GPS transmits an accurate time source. And for digital modes like FT8, JS8 call, and perhaps others, an accurate time source is very important because when you're doing the digital modes, there's a transmit cycle and a receive cycle, and you want everybody to be starting approximately the same amount of time, so everybody's in synchronization. So if the internet's down, you can use GPS in order to establish your accurate time source. So, because your laptop will, or computer will drift over time. So you need to synchronize it every once in a while. Anybody that's participated in the Joe's JSA call nets, can see that. You can see how much of a time difference there is between when there's, you transmit and when they transmit, and it'll give you like how many milliseconds, like hundreds of milliseconds difference there is. And if it gets too far off, then you won't be able to code what they're saying accurately. You'll miss parts. And let me go to, before I go further, I want to demonstrate. Let's go to my desktop. So if you can see my icon, if you look for my name on the list, you can see I've got a picture with two modules there. There's a black module. Can you still hear?
We're looking at the right.
What are we looking at?
Oh, you're looking at that. Yeah, I don't know how to show you. Let me stop sharing for a second. Okay. So if you look just for my name on the list, if you click on it and make that, can you make that a?
Yeah.
There. Those are two different GPS modules. The one on the right that looks like a round disc it plugs into your USB port, and you can, if you're in a car, you can just stick it to your roof of your car. It's magnetic mount, or put it on your dashboard. And it has like a fixed length, like a 10, 15 foot cable on it. So, and that one runs about $57. That's a better one. You can get them down around $15, $20, but this is the newest version. And then that funny little PC board on the left is a module that can be used directly by plugging into the USB cable there, or it can be used on a Raspberry Pi or a Arduino, or for projects, and connected via a serial bus. And that thing was $10. And then an external antenna, which I have running outside onto the porch here, was another $10. So for a total of $20, I have a GPS solution for a Raspberry Pi project. And I like this one because it can use a antenna with an external antenna. I can add coax, so I can run the antenna up onto my roof. Excuse me. Okay, so
Jim, can that module be put onto the headers on a Raspberry Pi? Is that what those
yes,
unpopulated header holes are
it's
for?
like the SPI bus, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can connect it directly.
And do you know if that powers an LNA in the antenna?
Yeah, it's doing it right now.
Yeah, so it's an active antenna. It has the LNA in the antenna, and it gives like 5 volts DC.
I don't know. I bought the antenna and the module separately. I'd have to look it up on Amazon, but I believe so. So yes, I don't have to supply any power to the antenna. It's all ready. So when you install one of these modules, they're USB. Like if you're plugging into your laptop or your computer, the first thing you want to do is you got to find out, what's the communications port. So I usually go to device.
You're not sharing your screen yet.
Oh, wait, whoops. Thank you. Let's go back to sharing screen. Share screen. Okay, so if we go to device manager, and go down to COM ports, I can see that USB GPS unit is on COM 6. So you look that up and you remember that, because you'll need that information for other programs. So when I want to synchronize my time, I use a free program called BK Time Sync. And in here, I select COM6. I leave the default baud rate, which is 4,800. And then if it's working, you'll start seeing stuff down in this white window. So it's local offset, and it's telling me that I'm off by 0.079251 seconds. So that's pretty good. And so I can hit sync now. I hope. Now I'm off by 0.000186 seconds. Wow. So now I'm all set if I want to do digital modes, like out in the field, or if your internet's down, you can still do it without having any internet. So I'll close this program.
What's the name of the program, Jim, again?
BK Time Sync.
BK Time Sync.
BK Time Sync, okay.
Yeah, it was a free
So
program.
You don't have to leave it running while you're using the other program to maintain time. You just set the clock once and then you're good for.
Yeah,
the rest of the
because
session.
you know, usually like when I'm doing FTA, I sync it when I first start the app, before I start the app, and then it's good for, if I don't know how much your computer clock drifts. You saw that it only drifted 0.0078 since I synced it last time, which was about 11 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, but time isn't the biggest driving factor with drift. It's temperature.
Yeah, so you could sync more often if you want. There
I'm
may
just
be,
wondering if you could let it run full time on a system that.
yeah, I haven't really looked at it. There may have a way of syncing every so often.
Ooh. If there's a command prompt, I can make it do anything.
Yeah, when someone learns more about that, maybe they can share with the class at some point how you can have it automatically just keep updating it. Then you wouldn't have to worry about it. So then once you have an accurate time source, you can do your FT8, JSA call, or any other digital modes that require time synchronization. But what I am using the GPS for was with WinLink. So I'll open up WinLink. Oh, so I already have it open. So in WinLink, if you go to settings, GPS, see if I can move this so that bar is not in the way. Okay, so remember we looked and said device manager told us it was on COM6. So I selected COM6 and it's given us a position. So you can see this, if you watch it closely, it changes actually a little bit. So I can see that it's actually working. So that means that if that's working, that means that you can, if you create a new message, and we'll select a template. We'll go to global templates, CERT windshield survey. So if I was in a CERT group and I was going out and doing windshield surveys, it now just imported my, in the field here, the latitude and longitude. So I stop in front of a house, I fill out this windshield survey of the house is destroyed or whatever. I submit it. Now when it gets received by the CERT command, they have the GPS location of where this report was created. And the good thing about that is then on their end, they can generate maps. So they can select from like windshield survey, hurricane reports, nearest position reports. So like if you submit a position report to WinLink, and you can request a report for nearest position reports, they'll tell you the closest 30 people to you in ham radio, and you could map that. So I'm gonna look at the windshield cert surveys. So let's display a map. I'm not really good at using a touchpad. I'm just using all my USB ports for the GPS and for the other camera. So I'm not sure how to scroll.
Double click it. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, it's not.
It's like the other.
Yeah, I'm not so good at that.
Would an extra USB port help?
It would, but
I
so
have
anyway, so then you can export this, all the windshield surveys that you've collected, and you can generate a KML file by clicking on this and creating the file. And from that, I'm just gonna, you can trust me that if I push that button to save it, it'll save all those positions. And we'll go to want to go to Google Earth. So we'll open Google Earth. Oh, gee, I wonder whose house that is. Oops. How do I get rid of that off my screen? Okay. So let's scroll out.
Is that your place?
No. That's a undisclosed person in this room.
Chuckled.
Okay, so this is Aina Loa, Hawaiian Acres, Fern Forest, Eden Rock. Now from here, I can open a project. So I can import a KML file that I created did I create it that long ago?
We've got the one above it, which is 6 days ago.
Oh, 60. Okay, so now, whoa. Okay, I participate. Where are you going?
I don't know.
It's
evidently wanted to zoom in on less.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, when you mentioned that somebody from Connecticut was watched your one of the BIARC videos, I'm like, oh, he might not be too far from me. Might have a Connecticut friend.
What Jim has on the screen right now is we took a mapping class and integrated the.
Can you give him the? Hold on. Can you give him the microphone?
So what Jim has up on the screen right now is we had taken a WinLink mapping class that integrated some of the WinLink forms that are GPS enabled. The windshield survey that Jim had mentioned, we went around and collected different data points in some of the subdivisions, completed the windshield surveys, submitted them to the team members, which simulated it was gone back to a command post. And then what this mapping export of the KML file did was took all the GPS locations and the windshield surveys. William, can you hover over a pin real fast?
Jim.
Oh, Jim, can you hover over a pin? And then just give me a click there.
It doesn't. Does it?
You're in Google, right?
I'm in
Yeah, there you go.
Google, yeah.
So inside the windshield survey, all the data fields that were completed by the field team will now show up on a single map that's live updated from the KML file. Well, in this case, each time Jim brings in the KML file. So at any time they can, see what where it was, what the message priority is, and kind of what category it'll fall into, whether it's life safety or not. So
I don't know how to get to go away.
right there, X at the top. It's real light gray, Jim.
What?
Right, there's an X right next to the right side.
Oh, I can see it up there, but there's a stupid zoom thing over on my screen.
So the WinLink development team is working on getting the GPS coordinates put into more and more forms as they go. The CERT teams, some of the CERT teams in Walnut Creek and in the mainland are driving that effort. And that's why you're seeing this particular windshield survey that was in WinLink that was done by the Walnut Creek team. Jim can also pull during the RMS, during the WinLink export, where you could export it to a CVS file or a KML file. He also had the option up there to choose the message headers. So as he's driving around just generally doing WinLink messages, in the message header itself, we'll also have the GPS coordinates if the dongle is connected.
Exactly. And so this was let me trying to zoom it. Oh, I tell you how much I hate.
So Jim, go back to the RMS window real fast. Okay, and then the export there. Okay, so in the top, the select form right where he had is the windshield survey. That's where he could either pick a particular form or go ahead and click that once. Or he's able to, where he has their hurricane report or messages. So he's able to take just messages if he wanted to, and then that would take all of his messages that are, okay, so that's what comes up. And then if Jim goes back to the, where did you go there? Go back to the map, back to the messages again.
Back to messages.
So
Close the map.
yeah, close the map real fast. Okay, so in this, let's see, generate KML file.
Okay, generate KML file.
Yeah, right there. So now he can go in there and put his date range in. So if, let's say if he's sampling 2 or 3 days at a time and doesn't want, maybe the hurricane's approaching and they're getting pre-reports in, and then they want to kind of see, like a post-disaster. So he can limit those date ranges. He can also, on the forms, as he's collecting them, also limit and sort by certain form fields before the export. So it looks like he's.
Yeah, so you can, where's if you're doing display map, you can then set filters. And then you can select fields in the form that you want to sort by. I've got a microphone. So you can do quite a bit with the right within WinLink without using and map it without even using any other external programs. But at the like say agency level, they're going to be using like a program like ArcGIS or some other mapping program to do more with it. And let me
so
go ahead.
As this class was happening, what I found extremely useful is I had lost one of my dogs and it went into the subdivision behind me, went through a trail and chased a pig and went into the subdivision behind me. Well, I drove back on that road and there's no cell coverage. So my map disappears on my cell phone. They're not downloaded. I don't have my, it's not syncing up for GPS anymore. It's like all I have is a blank screen with a blue dot on it. I'm like, oh. So I'm trying to figure out where my yard was coming in, matching the back of the subdivision. So I was actually able to take the WinLink downloaded laptop with the GPS unit, drive back there, see where I was at on the map, and find an accurate, pass through on where these two subdivisions mapped up from. And where I couldn't do that with the cell tower, just of the poor coverage in some areas up in Mountain View. So it happens a lot. You'll be driving and you get drop calls, and we rely on our cell phones all the time. Having it on the laptop or other devices that has the map files downloaded of the areas you're going to be in, whether that's going to be for a particular CERT team or events, or you're traveling on vacation, I would highly recommend preloading those map files and using a GPS dongle. It's actually able to get my dog back from it. So yes.
Did you get it on iPad?
They are working on a version for the iPad, but it's still a little far back. And it was $10, I think, and it didn't have all the features. So I think they're getting there, but they're not quite there yet.
For what?
The WinLink on the iPad.
Oh yeah, it seems like it's easier on a
So they
on a
Android tablet.
Android app. Yeah, the Android app even has the forms and everything. So if you get a GPS enabled Android, pad, then you can get the GPS locations. You do all your windshield surveys, and what they wanted to do is then you go, when you return back to the command post, you do a telnet link via Wi-Fi, and then that's when you transfer all your forms.
So
and then they collect them that way, rather than having to have all these people out in the field with radios and interfaces, and this way it can all be done via Wi-Fi and the iPad,
So what
Android pad.
what Jim was talking about on the Android, it's an application called Wodal, and then WOAD, and you're able to take your GPS dongle, which is a little tricky getting a right one for that. So I recommend doing what Jim said, is if you have an Android tablet with GPS pre-built into it, it'll make your life a lot easier than trying to get the adapter there. And it was a little difficult with the Android tablet. Once the users have the information stored either on the laptop or the tablet, then the next part of the class was, okay, how do we get that information to the right people? We used an existing technology that we've been playing with out here, and that's the RMS Express. And then we used the RMS gateways to transfer from the laptops to the RMS gateway to get it to each other. The Walnut Creek was presenting a simplex method, or a direct point-to-point method, where they were putting little nodes at their command posts and then allowing users with non-ham devices to drive up, connect to the Wi-Fi, synchronize to the device at the command center, allow the personnel at the command center to review the downloaded messages, and then send one file with all the GPS data via radio to the next hop. So whoever the next responsible party would be to review that information. So I think processes, they're still learning. I think processes we're still looking at and seeing if this could benefit the communities in different ways. But it was definitely an exciting class.
Yeah, and then like if they use a GIS program for mapping all this, you have a lot more options. Like it's very limited what you can do in WinLink with it. That's just really for collecting all the information. So if you import that same file, the same information that I put into Google into here, I was able to import information from the county as far as like the TMK information. So you can see somewhere here, I've got the TMK. So now you can get the actual where I was when I did the mapping. So I imported the TMK maps. You can import the roads and the other information. So there's a multitude of things that are available. You can get on the county site. What other things do they have on the county site other than like the TMK? You can find out where sewer, fire stations.
It's not on the county site, but there is a.
It's on state site. Yeah.
No, there's a KML available that will give you the paths of steepest ascent for predicted lava flows.
Yeah, I've used that during the lava flow. Yeah.
There are, I have KMLs that are available that show the repeater coverages. The sky's the limit.
So Jim had switched software to QGIS. We went over from Google Maps to QGIS. QGIS is similar to ArcGIS, is what you'll see is primarily used in government. You'll see it if you go on the NOAA website for the buoys, and you'll see it's all down in the bottom right hand corner. You'll see ArcGIS is what's providing the service. You'll see that a lot on all of the state and county sites as well. But QGIS is a free program. It's open sourced. It allows us to bring in that WinLink data. If this is sitting on the same PC as the RMS Express is collecting messages, it will live update this map in real time. So any message that comes in will automatically transfer its data over to the map layer. What Jim was talking about is adding the TMKs. Is he was able to add different layers over here on the left side. And there's layers for everything. There's layers for shelters, there's layers for schools, there's layers for care homes. So whatever we needed to layer over top of that, to whatever area we're working in, the teams could practice and have those layers available. There's a little bit more to this. This is a little more complicated program. There was layer ordering. We had to go in and create some links. It wasn't real bad, but it's not for your average. It needs a little practice. So don't expect to just go out in the field, set it up and run with it. I would say you take a couple weekends to get familiarized with it, clicking on and off the layers and going through the setups.
Yeah, just to do the limited things I did there, it took me, because there's really not a good tutorial on it. And I really had to spend hours messing with it to get it to work as good as it did.
Do you know if there's an API available to take coordinates coming in and put them directly onto the map in here, or do you have to go to a CSV or KML or some sort of importable file?
Jim, bring up, there's a lot of data connectors. You can connect it to SQL databases or all different types of data.
Because I'm just wondering if we could like connect this to the C4 FM repeaters.
Well, and
when they send their GPS coordinates from the C4 FM radios, have it automatically populate in here and have it sort of like an APRS offshoot.
Okay, so there's a database manager.
Yes.
So you have, virtual layers, spatial layers, import layer file. I gotta say, I'm most likely sure it can do something
Actually,
like
William,
that.
I've seen the data connectors to SQL databases, and we actually have a SQL database as part of our new web hosting. So I've set that up. I was just getting ready to do my first connection to it for this exact test.
Oh, very nice.
There's also plugins. So there used to be, I don't think it's supported anymore, there was an APRS plugin for this. If you look on the, there's a real long list of plugins up there.
And that kind of leads me to like so this is like what you can do with it for disasters, for managing, like for CERT. This was specifically class that we took was for aimed at for CERT teams. But other things you can do with your GPS is that stupid thing on the front always gets in the way of my bar here. I go to aprs.fi.
Oh, you're fighting with the thumbnail video, aren't you?
Yeah.
Hit the little.
Well, the thing at top, like says stop sharing and all that garbage. It keeps getting in my way.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, that's my world sitting here with this thing.
So if we zoom in on this island, and I display for the past 6 hours.
William, you're talking about taking the data off one of the repeaters and simulating this project.
And piping it in that way, because if you could pipe it in, you could pipe in APRS, you could pipe in the System Fusion users and stuff like that, and then have a live update of your users on top as a layer on top of your windshield reports or anything like that. Yeah, so that you're looking at your windshield reports and you're like, oh, I have a question about this. Oh, look, so-and-so is right there. Hey, so-and-so, can you go take a picture of this?
So in my both of my vehicles, I have Yaesu radios, FTM 301 and FTM 400 and other with APRS. So you can see where I am right now, my car. It's pretty close. It's off by about 2 parking spaces. So that's not too bad. It's located me within 2 parking spaces of where my actual location is. And then you can zoom out. How often you update your position will show how accurate your path is. So if it rounds off a corner, it's because it didn't report a position between those 2 times. So you can see, right? So that's my shipping container. This picture is like 12 years old. That's Google's terrible about updating. So it doesn't look like that anymore. But these 4 solar panels on this mounted array, I'm probably going to donate to the club for going up at Mauna Loa before I leave, because it's already on a framework. All we got to do is haul it up there. So, and it's all made out of the fence post stuff, and then I screwed through so things didn't come apart with stainless steel nuts and screws and nuts, and it's held up through every storm we've had in the past 10 years. So, and it's just still in good shape. So there's 4 220-watt panels there. So you can see there's a little off. I don't park in the woods here. This is my actual driveway. So there's a little bit of shift between, especially between depending on what program you're using. If when I look on Google Maps, I might be on the other side of the road. So there's little differences there. But so that's another use on ham radios, APRS. So if you want to track, like during a marathon, and you've got your what do you call the vehicle that goes from the helper vehicle that like delivers supplies between there's a name for that. What?
Chase vehicle.
Yeah, the chase vehicle. So you could have an APRS in the chase vehicle, and then the person at the command center could know where the chase vehicle is any time. So that's a use for APRS for, like, a non-emergency use. But also you could have it if you have your teams in the field during an emergency. You can know where that vehicle is, where that team is at any given time. So that's another use for the APRS, which is then using the GPS. So the GPS is has become a very useful tool.
Is this the one that we used in my cab at one time and I made like etch a sketch all over the map?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was fun. I remember.
So right now I'm the only person driving around. When Les is around, I can see where Les is, and
I turn mine on.
sometimes
I still got too much cop in me. I just can't let you guys know where I am all the time.
Well, mine took up the whole town one time. The whole
I remember.
Oh yeah, you made quite a mess on my screen. Sometimes Paul, W87BR, uses APRS, and I've seen him on the map. So that's another application for GPS and tracking. And
Hey, Jim, can I add a couple things about the
Yeah.
applications for it?
of course,
So we've used the GPS setup for a lot of different things. Aries has already used it for mapping, working with USGS with the Did You Feel It earthquake reports. So we generate maps for those exercises routinely. We've used it as a demonstration for the National Weather Service to track the sit reps, like the hurricane reports that we submit through WindLink. So we're trying to get the National Weather Service to buy into this technology. So we're doing demos for them of how it works. Of course, the CERT teams, we're playing with that in Orchid Land, and I'm working with the CERT admin team to come up with a standardized setup whereby we can deploy this to all the CERT teams across the island. So I'm working with the Citizens Corps Council of the county to see if we can get some funding for that. You know, within ARES, it's really nice to have, I've done maps of all the ARES members by district or island-wide. I've even pulled some of the data from the BIARC, so I can see where all the BIARC members are at. And all these types of different reports can be put in as different layers. So the consumer of the data can just click on a box and see what they want to see or any combination. So therefore, like with the CERT reports, we can code them so that you could see road closures with one icon or a particular color, whereas, you know, like say just situation reports might be in another color, and things like injuries or requests for assistance might be a third icon or a third color. Like Jim said, the WinLink is kind of limited in the real-time mapping that you get, but that's nice because they've got it set up out of Walnut Creek so that once the data gets fed in, it can map real time without you having to take any additional action other than just clicking to bring up the map. When it comes to feeding that data over to a served agency, there's different ways of doing it. Typically working with someone like Civil Defense, they probably would want it as batch updates so they could plan their next operational period rather than having data flowing in real time. And so, you know, they might request, say, every half hour or every hour, we send an update from all the CERT teams. We're still trying to figure out how that's going to work. But essentially, in that case, what we hope to do is a live link to their ArcGIS system where we just upload it. So the real key to this is you're getting this information in a very flexible way through a variety of means. Like Jim said, we can do Wi-Fi, we can do radio email with WinLink, and we can also do direct links into the RMS software, so we can do real-time mapping, or we can do links into a database and out of a database. We can run this stuff with or without the internet, over VHF, UHF, HF. There's just a lot of flexibility here. And so it really makes it, it's nice to have the flexibility, but we really got to think about exactly how we want these things to be deployed for each group.
What about the problem though, if you're getting raw data off of GPS in latitude and longitude, you're faced with a data chunk that's pretty nasty to try and transfer over to something, as well as the issue of whether it's in, you know, minutes and seconds or it's in decimal.
It's always in decimal. And I'm not sure what you mean by nasty. It's actually pretty concise. So
Yeah,
those.
It's the NAD 83 standard, right?
What's that?
The NAD 83 standard.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, that's the standard that's written about how that data is put together. So we don't have the issue as to whether this user was using degrees, minutes, and seconds, or they were using decimal degrees. This all boils down to an actual standard. There's NAD 83 and NAD 85.
If you're getting raw data, how are you transferring?
So it goes into the form fields of the WinLink form directly. WinLink puts it right into the puka that says longitude, latitude.
There's an algorithm that converts. So the GPS handshake says, I'm using this protocol. And so when the program receives it, it says, oh, I have to convert that to NAD 83. And then it pumps it in the NAD 83 standard.
So it's taking it off the GPS receiver.
Regardless of what the GPS gives it, because the handshake includes, this is what my format is.
Right.
In the form itself, I'm not going to have Jim open the code, but if you look in the code of the form, it'll tag it with there's 3 or 4 tags in there, and it'll let you know if it's user entered or if it came directly from the dongle. So that the form logic actually cleans it up a little bit as well.
I mean, you're still talking, probably at least 32 bytes of information total in the message. But 32 bytes is not bad.
That's not an issue. It's just whether or not you have to do any sort of a manual transfer.
No, and that's the beauty of what it's showing you is that they built that functionality into WinLink now. And there are plenty of other programs that can now do that, because that was a problem back in the day.
Yeah.
We've had to overcome that.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. I just noticed that the forms were all in decimal format and I never even thought about it. But I guess there's a few forms that might still use degrees, minutes, and seconds.
Don't know.
Also, depending on your GIS program, there are capabilities to convert it from GPS into the nearest street address.
That does not work that well here, though.
Okay, that's what I figured.
I actually tried that and it does not work very well with Hawaii addresses.
Okay, yeah, so, out here in Puna, a lot of places don't have the street addresses and that can be a problem. So guess we're just got to get used to GPS.
You actually have the ability to do that through QGIS because you have the overlay of the TMK. So you could have a TMK layer that then correlates to TMK to address.
Yeah.
And you could have a script that runs that does the correlation for you. It takes the GPS coordinates, grabs the TMK number for it, because that is actually relatively easy, and then does a lookup in a SQL table.
With Sunny when you need Anchor translator.
Oh. Yeah. Shit. You're right.
So, actually, the key to all of this is not just us learning the technology, but it's really talking to the served agencies. Can't remember if I was talking to Talmadge Magno or Bill Hansen, but one of them in our meeting brought up, can you have it show which issues have been resolved? And so, when I was talking with them, I didn't really know, but they wanted to be able to just see on the map which issues are still active, right? Where requests for assistance that have not been serviced are located at. So I talked to the Walnut Creek guys and they told me how they were doing it and how we can get an automatic timestamp so we can mark things, check a box and mark them as resolved and have that automatically update the mapping system. So it's that kind of dialogue with any served agency, no matter who it is, that help us to find a solution that actually meets the needs of who we're trying to work with. If we're just by ourselves trying to come up with a solution like that an agency would be happy with, we're going to be way left field. We might think, oh, this is cool, and they might not give a darn about what we've developed. So it's that communication with the served agency that is really critical in order to actually come up with a solution that whether it's a CERT team or USGS or National Weather Service or whoever it is, it's that dialogue that helps us to come up with something that they actually would recommend that they use. And that's what we need is we need the buy-in, because they've got to allocate time at their, to their staff. And a director of an agency is not going to tell their staff, oh, go spend a few hours with these guys to work it out unless they think that it's going to be something of value to their agency. And so that's what we're trying to do, by learning these capabilities, is we want to provide value to our partners. That's the bottom line. Thanks, Jim.
Oh, no.
You got it.
Yeah, so I was right. It's the
Thanks,
NAD
Tony.
83 standards. If anybody wants to know how that works, look up NAD 83. It's published by NOAA.
Any other questions? That's all I really have. I hope you found it interesting and useful. But yeah, what Tony said was we need to know what the agencies need rather than us thinking, oh, they would like this. This way you don't waste a lot of time and energy developing something and it not be what they want.
And it may not be an agency. It could be another partner, like a relief agency that needs to do deliveries or something like that, which will also have the same question. Can we show which deliveries have been made?
Yeah.
Whoever needs help.
All right.
Okay, Jim, thank you very much. Very interesting topic. Okay, now we're going to have a short break. What do we have after this?
The social with the ice cream.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't forget that. Okay, we're going to be serving the ice cream right there. So be patient as we scoop it. We're not good scoopers, so we'll do it though. Okay.
I'm using the public Wi-Fi.
Join us
working
for
now.
ice cream.
I'm saying theirs is working now.
Oh, I submitted the ticket.
You have Alan.
Oh, okay, well, they did, because that's what I'm connected to. So I'm not using your hotspot.
I think I'm actually automatically logging in.
Figure out how to
So it doesn't die a lot.
This is solely used for.
Oh, that's what happened when you're not present, brother. Snooze and lose.
Yeah, I know you're around.
Yeah, how for the better.
Yeah, so that's on what you call first amendment. The government cell phone system. That's government only access. So that's just purely for disasters and I use it for club stuff the rest of the time.
Good. Utilize everything we can. That's the way to go.
Man, at one point, you guys were like talking like a bunch of Vulcans in the front. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
And I was trying to keep it low key.
Yeah, you gotta dumb it down like real dumb.
Well, and that was Joe's joke, because you know Sonny, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Key and the Keel skit where Key is Obama's anger translator? You've never seen that?
No.
Oh, it's
Send it to me
hilarious.
to Messenger.
Yeah, so they said that Sonny is my anger translator, but instead of toning, the flat Obama tone up to some anger, it's Sonny explains what I say with things that humans can understand. I know you're walking out on us eventually and all, but can you use one of these?
Hell yeah. Thank you. That's awesome. It's like, I was looking at those on Amazon. How much for a bus bar, Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have the isolator hardware on the end, but that's easy enough to work out.
Oh, that's no problem.
Yeah, I missed it. I was at the wrong location. I was at the HPP. They have their own radio. So I kind of thought it was. And then when I went over there. So.
I'm not sure, very possibly. I'm rolling out to I told you that they on the list, I get on emails and,
Yeah, I went to the website, trying to see what frequencies you guys are doing your events on. I think it's right there.
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
Anywhere.
And that way,
I went to the Facebook website.
Yeah. No more the eggs in there. So you can have it.
Oh, no, that's Joe's the no egg person. I don't know.
I thought you guys don't eat no chicken. Was it Joe?
No, that's Joe.
Oh.
Man, I eat a ton of chicken.
That's right, grill. So does your dog. Every time you knock it off the grill.
Yeah. I know I'm not supposed to give him the bones and stuff. My daughter would yell at me.
but they're still here.
My dogs eat chicken bones every day. They have no problem with chicken bones.
Jim, I got your email about my script.
Yeah.
So I got 2 lines and 2 lines. You said I should fill in.
Well, you have like, you say connect, Maui, and then you say, then the connect, and then you had a space between, I would take that space out, I wouldn't have that space. Yeah, put everything together. But the thing is, my understanding, like when I connect to Mauna Loa, because Mauna Loa is on 090, but it talks to Maui on 070. Yeah, so Maui's on 070, because I used to connect to Mauna Loa, connect to Maui, and then Maui would connect to Dewey over on the Kona side. But Joe Speroni and those guys, they changed him over to 090 also. And so then that no longer worked. So Maui's on 070, so you can only connect to a station that is listening on 070.
You connect the station.
I have in the past, yes. It's not 100%, but I have connected in the past. But then one of the ones I did connect with, I have to change the frequencies, because those guys, to be honest, they want packet to go away. You know, they don't. They all they care about is their VARA. Even though you have a packet network that's that. Maui, I think there's a packet station on Oahu. Not sure there used to be.
I think there is. I think there is a private one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I connected to it once.
Okay. Yeah. So unfortunately, the leadership is, if they had their way, they, take that hardware down, and I know they're gonna be putting. I think they want to put a VARA digipeater up there. So I don't know what frequency that'll be on, or whether it's going to replace the packet. So the packet may totally go away.
I'm just doing it for fun. I don't have any good reason to do it.
Yeah, me neither. I'd go over the Dewey site just see if I could.
Yeah. No. Can you connect this not connected to the internet?
No.
So you have to it's just
Yeah, essentially, it's a there's 2 types of things you can pass information through. Digipeaters, which all they do is digipeating, whereas when you connect to MLOA, it has a bulletin board, it has other information. We can store messages and, thank you so much. So you can do other things with that. If you're using there's another, Gary can probably tell you the name of the program. There's all sorts of stuff you can do, and there's chat rooms and things like that. Yeah.
What they call an anti-diabetic immunization. I mean, money? Yeah. Oh. I got pictures and all. I don't see much of those. I think Benjamin do it, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Washington is mine.
I'm not even wrong on the dollar.
Yeah, not even Lincoln. Oh, no, that's.
Couldn't get out anywhere. Moved here, beginning of the year. Finally got my rig back. Yeah.
All right, I cut in there. You looked like you were struggling a little bit. No, thank you. I was hoping, and then Tony helped out too, so. Looks like you had the two GIS down for. Yes, it's been a few evenings sticking with that thing. I don't think I'll be using it much more. It accomplished its goal. For now, unless somebody. No. I don't feel comfortable with that. Because a lot of times I'm doing it, if I go to do it again, like I'm relearning it each time. I haven't done it enough. I haven't worked with enough. I'm efficient, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's so much more I can do that I have no clue on.
Hello, hello. Yes, I am.
So there's the thick.
So I'm glad I'm doing that. I spent 12 hours
Family.
I've been thinking about my family members. I did sushi rolls for the whole club.
Yeah, my wife. Yeah.
Because the hot dogs were there for the whole club.
We had like 60 members. We had like 60 members. Yeah, I did sandwiches for the club. That was when the steak was at $5 price. It was like $25. Yeah, I had I can't believe how much right here. I was gonna bring my one to myself.
So she has no.
And I looked at how much I paid for it. $72 Amazon Prime. So it's listed for $112 on Amazon Prime.
If you already know, you gotta take you with it.
That's inflation. Well, I figure they have to raise the price, right? And they'll just say, well, the fuel cost, but the guy who drove it didn't give it. But Amazon might be charging them higher.
It's about
142. So 75 to 100. No, like 100, right? That's more than 3% inflation.
That's the whole point. It's like you said, I think they're just jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, we got overcharging, raising the prices well more than what they're
Yeah. And then look at their, you know, their publicly traded companies. Record profit.
Oh, yeah.
When you
Yeah.
see this happen, like this happened in 2008. Like when this was starting to happen, I was otherwise, I'll split my profit. It'll take another 20 years. And then my daughter will profit. And she's gonna make that. My sister's. I know.
So this is Hank Call.
Pardon me for interrupting. Whoever has a broadcast engineer on.
Not a broadcast engineer.
What did you do?
Commercial installs.
Oh, okay.
I work for GE or Delta Communications.
Delta, yeah. You must have been in China. He does a lot of-
He was one of the owners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was with them for 4 or 5 years back in. I left them in I was from 91 to 95.
Oh, man.
Then from there I moved
Right, yeah.
to California, and I worked on emergency response wings. All the bells and whistles.
I spent 40 years in Honolulu. I was a television engineer. I built television and radio stations. People was a good friend.
Yeah, yeah.
So Hank, I may have misdirected you with him, but there is a broadcast engineer that I talked to that is gonna show up here sooner or later.
Okay.
And I probably have his name in my notes, but I met him at the thing in Pune yesterday, where they revitalized Pune, which is a county function.
Yeah, I see the sign.
Did you run across a David Itai? He was working for Channel 4K.
Yeah, that's where I retired from in 2015. There's a great massacre over there.
2015. Yeah, he was also there. Somewhere in the 90s.
Yeah, I went over, well, I worked there 3 times, but the most recent one was 2002. And I worked there for 13 years in the morning shift. I bounced around from channel 2 to channel 4 to channel 13, all over the place. I built, or rebuilt, moved 6 or 8 stations over there in the 40 years I was there. And I got retired early in 2015. I first sold KITV to a management company that was notorious trick flipper. So I got downsized to age 63. That's when I retired and moved over here.
Yeah, I left Honolulu, went to California. I was there for the last 20 years, but I was living in Ventura, California, in the valley going to Ojai. So I'm stuck in the valley for 15 years, and I wasn't able to talk to anybody. Yeah, so it's like I had to hang up all my gear. I was kind of sad about that. Now I'm out, got back to civilization, actually. Just like hearing the rest of the world, I guess.
Wish I knew how.
1979,
I have like a carpal tunnel.
first time the station I worked on. Had a license.
First
First FM
Excuse
station
myself,
over here.
because I'm one of those guys. I look it up. and I'm like,
Wow.
wait a minute.
And I thought, you know, this is
That's
what
on
this
this
is
side.
I'd like to retire
What's
here
happening
someday.
right
Finally
here?
got my wish. After 40 years in Honolulu, I was on 2 meters and that was all. I couldn't do anything. I mean, I was just tripped out. It was right. Concrete box.
Yeah,
The noise levels were just dying everywhere. So I ended up finally I got a place down in Hawaii Beach. I put dots in it, like, we're back, bro.
Yeah, I gotta start pumping up some antennas myself.
Latex, you know,
Getting used to this iron roof double window pane. You can't get nothing in the house.
He's like, oh, but where's the hurt?
I just headed up here more ice cream in case somebody wants to second.
Or sprain your middle finger. And I was like, Doc, what is that?
Right.
Radio's here. I'm like, like, he's like, I don't know, but he told me that it can take 6 or 8 weeks.
So cash check or website?
I'll do
Okay, so the one thing about the website, the links at the bottom,
The last thing I need is my finger to be up all the time. You know, like, that was so it could be worse.
So yeah, just like the PayPal donate. PayPal processing gateway.
Where do you live? You live in
You said something about,
10% convenience fee for electronic. Oh, yeah. So July. December. 250 per month, 7 months.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. They should have given me one whole cup. I could have sat down one time.
Oh, good. I got time.
Yeah. Let it come to you.
It's 17.
Finally have a good
Family.
mobile.
sorry.
Yeah, my fault.
Cool. That's gonna be good. Other than that, all I have is a couple of HDs, but you can make it with that for the mouth thing these days, you know? I'm pretty sure everybody on every other frequency band can hear you though. All the harmonics. See how this all goes, because some of this is perfectly like, no, I got it. Let me come back if I can. I'll be right back.
Hey, Thomas, you know that radio, you can pop the face off, yeah?
Yeah.
So they can do it remote.
Yeah, that's what I think I'm gonna do
Mount the
anyway.
body against the wall.
Everybody on the Zoom, sorry you can't have ice cream. It's really, really good.
Well, I gotta find a spot. I gotta kind of hide the rest of that, so my kid can get mad and trying to get-
How come I missed the only meeting where we had really good ice cream?
This transaction never happened. I won this in a raffle.
I know nothing.
I guess we're gonna close,
Nobody
huh?
knows about this.
I don't, just need to check to see if anybody has anything else they want to, ask Tony.
Anybody has anything else? Otherwise, we're closing the meeting.
Enjoy the ice cream.
Enjoyed it? All right, Barbara will be happy.
Thank you for donating the ice cream.
Hey.
I want to mention to everybody that Alan paid for and donated the ice cream.
Yay! Thank you.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
All right, everyone online, unless you have parting messages, we're gonna go ahead and shut the meeting off.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Nice meeting.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
You're online and you missed the ice cream.
Safe travels to Yap.
That mango cream, good. Huh?
Yeah, rub it in.
I tasted it
You don't
now.
have
The
that
third
tap,
time
do you?
around, I finally tasted it. The first two